obviously you've been a very, very busy lady this year. It's been a great year for you. I know
Yeah.
we just wrapped up All Star 6. You have an album that just came out. I know you're doing Halloween shows coming up. You've been very, very busy, which great job.
Hey, I am just so excited to be out of my house. It's
Mm,
been so much time here last year. Not gonna say I didn't love it because I did need some time off to like regroup and kind of fall back in love with drag. But I
mm.
have done that, and I am most excited to be outside, like talking to people and safely hugging people.
Mm. And you said you needed the time to kind of fall back in love with drag. I guess what was it that took you out of it for a little while?
Well, especially after Drag Race, you spend so much time just on the road doing the same thing night after night,
Mm,
and it takes the spontaneity out of it. It takes the really the creativity out of the drag, because I've done the thing where I try to pack 3 suitcases full of stuff so I have plenty of options, and then I get to the gig and they want to see the same like 2 or 3 things that just because it's old to you doesn't mean that they don't still want to see it.
right.
So it you just fall into this rut where you feel like, I don't know, I can't really be as creative as I want to be.
Mm,
And unfortunately and fortunately, during quarantine, we were doing so many digital drag shows that
yeah.
we had to be creative. We had to start thinking of brand new ideas every couple of days because we were trying to pump these digital shows out as fast as we could. And we were literally like looking through boxes in the garage going, oh, there's a feather duster. We can glue googly eyes on it. And suddenly we have a Serengeti for our Lion King production number.
This will do. Yeah, we
Exactly.
all got we all got creative.
I don't
And
think that if it hadn't been for quarantine, I probably would not have gone back to Drag Race. They had asked
right.
me a couple of years prior, and I felt like I was successful in my own lane. I had created my own
Yeah.
thing, and I was just kind of happy to move forward with that. But this, like, I finally felt like I had something different to offer,
Mm,
if that makes any sense. I felt
yeah.
finally like, oh, I have found the fun in my drag again, and I really kind of want to share that with the world. So they called at the right time, and I said, yes, I will, I will gladly show up.
So I was gonna say, I know I've read some of the other interviews you recently did, and you said All Stars 2 kind of coincided with a low point for your personal life, just for you
Yeah.
personally. I guess what was it that did help you get out of that? And I know you kind of just touched on this, but really, get that spark back.
Well, it's been 5 years, and
Yeah.
a lot changes in 5 years. I feel like, when I went into season 7, I considered myself to be an old drag queen because I had been doing it for a decade. I had learned from all of the old school girls, and that was the type of drag that I knew and that I did. And
Yeah.
then after that, I got to, not before All Stars 2, because we went right back into All Stars 2 after season 7. But after that, when I got to start traveling around the world, I realized that, drag is really a local sport, and
Mm,
it changes from town to town to town, the entire aesthetic and vibe and everything. And I was learning so much. And I feel like going back 7 years later, I feel like my drag is younger and happier and like more relevant than it was when I first went on. And so that really was kind of like what sparked me to be like, okay, yeah, you do have something new to offer. You do have like this whole new outlook on life and drag and all that kind of stuff. So share it with the world.
and now that it has been a month removed from when the finale aired, I know you obviously finished it long before that, but how do you feel about the experience overall? And do you think you could ever be talked into doing it even another time after this?
Hey, listen, there's no talking me into it. If the timing is right, I will always show up because I always feel like I get something different out of every experience. Now, I
Mm,
will say it'll be hard to top this experience because All Star 6 was so positive from beginning to end. And
so
it was
good.
the first time we got to the top 4, and we looked around, we were like, we don't really give a shit who wins. We're going to be happy and disappointed either way. And it doesn't matter because it was just so, it was fun. It was fun. I
Yeah.
mean, there's really, I could sit here and try to come up with big words, but the only one you need is fun.
Yeah,
And I
well,
think that that's
especially like you're
because,
saying, coming in the middle of the pandemic too,
yes.
it gave you something to do. You were around
Mhm.
people. It was creative, and it really was fun for us to watch too. Like it came across.
Well, a lot of people were saying online, this is my favorite season, and I can't really put my finger on why. And I think that's because there really was no negativity. There was not a lot of drama. And the drama that there was, it was squashed so instantly because we were all, like you just said, in the middle of a pandemic. We hadn't been able to perform. We hadn't been able to hug anybody, touch anybody, talk to anybody outside of like this right here. So it was really nice to be in the room with people who, you know, just wanted to be there and do drag and have fun. So
Yeah.
everybody was really excited to be there, and it made a world of difference.
And I mean, as someone who came into Drag Race already with the platform, you already, you knew what you were doing coming in. But how do you think, I guess, being on the show now, what did it do for your platform? And how has the feedback been different this time around compared to the past?
Yeah, I've had a lot warmer reception this time. Not to say that I didn't get a good response after season 7, but I felt like I was very polarizing on season 7 towards the end. You either loved me or hated me. And while that's good for TV, that's not good for me or my mental health.
No.
And so I had to sit back and I had to like really watch it. You know, my grandmother always said, you can't really see yourself until you see yourself through somebody else's eyes. And that's what Drag Race did for me. It allowed me to sit back and watch myself filtered through somebody else's reality. And I realized a lot of things about myself that I think I knew deep down, but I had never really come to terms with. And it was just, I was very unhappy. And I think that when you have all of those insecurities and all of that unhappiness inside of you, you do project it out into the world. So going back into All Stars 2, I felt like I hadn't had time to fix any of those things. I hadn't had time to work on myself. Yeah. And there was always so much else that was just like getting piled down on top of me in real life that I just wasn't in it. Like I never mentally showed up into that workroom. And I'm not surprised that I didn't do that well. So going back all these years later, it's like, oh, wow, I feel like I really like am me for the first time. And I've always said that, you know, it's a hard lesson to learn, but if you can just unapologetically be yourself, people will connect with that. People want authenticity. And I think that that's what the difference was this time, was that I was just authentically myself, good, bad, whatever. And people really saw some of themselves in that. So I will say, like, there's been a much stronger connection with the fan base this time.
Said they were pulling for you. I mean, they were obviously pulling for Kylie as well. But no, I think, it was very vocal for both of you. So I think that speaks to just how strong a season it was.
I think that we weren't the only ones that once we got to the top 4, we were like, okay, whichever way it goes, and that's fine. I think the whole world was pretty much like, I do have my favorite, but if any of them wins, I'm totally cool. And that was nice to be a part of because, you know, you sit as a fan. I'm a huge fan of the show. Of course, I watch every season, every spinoff, all that. And it always comes down to that week before the finale when they put out the hashtag team this, hashtag team that. And people get so cutthroat. They're like, no, fuck that. I don't know if I can say fuck, but
you can say whatever you want.
All right. We'll it out. She's the one that deserves it. But it wasn't like that really for this season. It was really nice because we get tagged in everything, of course. So you never want to sit there and knock down somebody who's trying to support you, but you have to like knock them down a peg and be like, you can support me without tearing everybody else up. We didn't have that.
Exactly.
And that was really nice.
So, you know, another interview that I saw that you did, you said that your storyline on season 6 felt like it was towards the end, got a little bit diminished or went to the background a little bit. I'm just curious if you wanted to expand on that, because you said there were things that you hoped the audience would get out of you that maybe they didn't get to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was particularly in that final conversation with Rue and Michelle, the Tic Tac lunch. There was this whole section about, you know, not loving yourself, learning to love yourself, and realizing that at the end of the day, you can get pumped up by the rest of the world. But if you don't pump yourself up, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to find that peace. And it was a really deep conversation between me and Rue and Michelle. Like the cameramen were crying and all of that. And I felt like in that moment, that was one of the times I was talking about, like, if you just unabashedly share your truth, open up your heart and share it with the world, it can help somebody and it can change the world. And I felt like that was one of those moments that if there was anybody else out there in the world like me that felt that way and needed to hear that, that could have changed the course of their life forever. Because that's something that I wish that I would have been able to watch on TV and see somebody that really represented who I was, you know, telling me that basically this and this and this is something that you can do to make the rest of your life happier and better. So that was the one thing I was really disappointed that got cut out. You know, especially since it kind of made that
it happens.
It does happen, and I'm not mad about it, but I really wish they would have at least released that clip just so people could see it. Yeah, because it also made my conversation with Rue a little superficial. I felt it was like, okay, well, these are things.
It went deeper.
Yeah, it's like, this is all nice, it's all well and good, but let's also, you know, do our best to kind of mentor those other people out there who need to hear this. How's that?
Well, now we'll get it out there.
Exactly.
And you know, for you, I'm sure, I know there are a lot of celebrity fans of Drag Race. Many of them have appeared on the show as judges or guests. Have any maybe jumped into your DMs that have really surprised you? I'm curious, like, did Lizzo reach out after that lip sync? Because it was so iconic.
Lizzo did not reach out, which is fine. You know, I met her at DragCon New York a couple years ago. So I've had conversation with her. She's lovely. She's busy. She's really busy.
Yes, she is.
So it did not bother me that I didn't hear from her. But having had that conversation with her before, I know she watched it. I know she was obsessed. So we'll leave it at that. But I have had a lot of country stars reach out to me, and I'm not going to say who they are yet because we're actually in negotiations to kind of do some stuff together. Now that I've gone down this country route, I'm really embracing the country side of myself. We're working on some projects with them. So it's always fun when the people that you admire, that you want to work with, come to you, because it takes all that begging and pleading out, you know?